Hey everybody, it's John with HillCo, and I've got an exciting new product I want to talk to you about. This is not it for the record, by the way, but I wanted to show you for reference. This is a stainless steel dripless bottling valve. These have been on the market in various forms for many years now. Many manufacturers and supply houses offer a dripless bottling valve like this that's most commonly used on heated bottling tanks and other bottling tank applications. They just work really smooth. This handle, can't really show you one-handed here, but it's not on a tank, but this handle works up and down. Works as plunger inside here. Your bottle, your honey bottle or jar is underneath here, and the honey just flows into it. It just shuts off very clean. They're just amazing. And so we've been selling these, offering these on our heated bottling tanks that we currently offer, and they've been very successful. We just absolutely love them. And however, since they're so great, I really wanted to try and make these more readily available, but in the current form, the stainless steel, the all stainless steel versions like this, whether it's from us or from most of our competitors, they run anywhere from $150 to well over $200. It's just a big hunk of stainless steel. They're beautiful, they're wonderful, but they're also very expensive. And so I'm always trying to look for ways to make these things more available to the masses, if you will, or for those hobbyist beekeepers, smaller folks that aren't running big expensive tanks or that want to use these on a bucket or a smaller tank. So we do a lot of 3D printing here at HillCo. We have a small fleet of 3D printers. My son Lewis, who some of you have met at the conferences or seen him in our videos, or Kurt, my father-in-law. These guys are really involved in our 3D printing. Kurt especially has just been amazing in figuring out 3D printing and helping us out with so many different things, prototyping parts and manufacturing small parts that we use in various things. Just lots of little things that we use 3D printing for. It's been an amazing thing for us. So anyway, a few months ago, I think it was just shortly after the Hive Life conference here this year in 2023, I was talking to Dad, and I was like, I wonder if we could 3D print a whole dripless bottling valve and offer it much cheaper than the current stainless ones like this. And so in Dad's typical style, he got right after it and started prototyping and working on some options. And it's been 3 months now, but Dad's put just countless hours into these valves. And here is the final version. Dad, if you're watching this, thank you so much for all your work on this. Dad put tons of hours, so many different versions and prototypes and iterations of this design as we looked at it and tried it and tested it and worked up different options. And so what with the result I'm just thrilled with. And so we were going to originally make it all plastic. The entire thing was being 3D printed, but what we've ended up doing is we've used a Type 304 food grade stainless steel body here. So the main body is stainless steel. There's a spring inside of stainless. This clamp here for the fittings, the sanitary clamp, is stainless steel. But pretty much all the rest of it is food grade plastic made on a 3D printer. So these are made in the United States, made in-house here. So yeah, just an absolutely amazing design. I'll show you how they look on our tank. So this is our 19-gallon heated bottling tank. This is the 5-gallon filtering tank, and this is the 18-gallon version of our very popular line of unheated storage tanks. So again, they just work beautiful, just very, very smooth. Again, you just hold your bottle underneath here, work your valve open and shut. It allows you very precise control of the speed of the honey, the amount of honey coming out. You can either flow out at a pretty quick pace, or you can just kind of slow it down, just trickle it through. And boy, when you shut it off, it is shut off. That's how these dripless valves work. That's why we call them a dripless valve. That's why they're so popular. It's number one for their user friendliness, how easy they are to operate, but also when they shut off down there, boy, you're done. And so, yeah, and with these, they work like our other stainless steel version did, where you can flip the handle around to run it with left-handed operation or slide it back around here for right-handed operation. Really, really smooth, really amazing. And the beauty of it is, I'm not going to tell you the exact price here because I don't want to have to shoot another video if we have a price increase in the future, but they're going to be about half the price of the stainless steel options. So we're hoping that these will be a viable option for these smaller tanks, like these more inexpensive tanks, or even if you wanted to put on a 5-gallon bucket, you certainly could. And so I'll show you how they fit on. We have, again, the sanitary fitting here, which I'm going to try and take off one-handedly. These clamps are a little finicky to run one-handed, but anyway, so basically you have two halves. There we go. So you have the one half, this face fitting here, that fits into the valve body, and then you have a seal, food-grade rubber seal, and then you have your adapter that goes into the tank. So this adapter that I'm showing here in the video, this fits into any one of these tanks or any of the stainless steel honey tanks that we're currently offering with this big male thread. This will fit, or well, the tanks have a female thread, sorry, obviously, but anyway, with this male thread will fit on any of those. We're also going to be offering an option with with a nut on the back here to put on 5-gallon buckets, and also an option that accepts female 1-inch pipe thread to put on a tank that has a 1-inch male pipe thread, like our previous generation of honey tanks or anybody else's as well. It has 1-inch pipe. And in addition, you know, we make these pieces in-house. Dad is amazing at designing this stuff, so if we have enough demand for an adapter that fits enough some other tanks or other options, we can always offer those in the future as well. But anyway, that is the Dripless, the new style, economy price Dripless honey valve. When I say economy, it's certainly not junk. We've done some significant testing on these. They really, really work great. We expect them to last a very long time. And if you wear out the parts, we can send you new ones. But this will be the new standard valve on our 19-gallon and 32-gallon heated bottling tanks. That'll be the standard option. We'll still offer the fully stainless option for a little bit more money. And then on the 5-gallon tank here, the filtering tanks or any of these other unheated tanks, they will be an optional valve. So the regular plastic honey gate will be standard, and these Dripless valves will be an option available at additional cost. So these valves work on most of our stainless steel tanks that have this large female thread like this. I'm going to show you here. So how we make these is it's called a sanitary fitting. So you have two pieces that are held together by that stainless steel clamp. So I'm going to take it apart. It's going to be delivered to you looking just about like this. So I'm going to take it apart here real quick just by threading this bolt off here, and it just hinges around like that, and the whole thing comes apart like so. So I'm going to set that aside, and then we have our fitting that goes into the main body. That's already tightened up with thread sealing tape in here, so you don't have to worry about this side. It's already good to go. And then we have our rubber sealing ring that goes in between those two halves, and this is the piece that we're going to install in the tank itself. As you can see, it should have this white gasket already on the threads. That keeps it sealed up when it meets up with this face here. So what I'm going to do here is thread it into the tank. I'll show you quick first. We put some flat spots. We make these in-house. We put some flat spots on this fitting here, which allows you, if you need to tighten it up, hand tight, you can probably get it pretty close. But if you want to put a pair of pliers or channel locks on there, we have these flat spots that allow you to do that. So just get that threaded. Shouldn't be too hard to thread into place. Just get it on there and get it threaded good and snug. Like I said, you can use pliers if you have to, but this should be sufficient right here. All right, if you want to zoom back in now here, what I'm going to do next is I got my bits off. I'm going to put this on here. You got to kind of hold it in place. This gets a little clumsy, so we got the fitting already on the tank. Now we got our clear gasket. It's the same on both sides, and it fits into, you got a groove here on both sides of this fitting, so it's going to fit into that. See, this high spot here fits into this groove. You getting that okay? Mm-hmm. Good deal. All right. Now I'm going to put this on here. Make sure that's seated up. Go ahead. Are you zoomed in here good? All right. This gets a little bit tricky here, but I've got these two faces up against each other. And now I'm going to put the clamp over it. And again, the groove of this clamp is going to go over these two high spots here on the valve. And it gets a little bit clumsy. Basically what I'm trying to do here is get those in the groove, hopefully. There we go. Alright, so now I've got it in there, and it's gonna, if it tightens down good, as you can see it's closing up like that, that means we're good. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do before I get it clear tight, as you can see, we're a little crooked here. So obviously I want this to be perpendicular here, I think that's the word for it. So as I've got it loose here, I'm just gonna turn that a little bit until we got it straight like we want it. That should be close enough. Obviously you can always adjust it later. I'm just gonna tighten this up real good and snug by hand. And that should hold in place really good. So if you haven't used one of these valves before, all you do to operate it, again, your honey comes out under here. So as this plunger moves up and down, it opens that piece. So you can see it's opening and closing there as I move that lever down. So your honey's coming out there. So you're going to hold your bottle underneath here. And you just work this lever down to open it up to fill your bottle. So you got quite a bit of control here, quite a bit of flexibility. You can open it just a little bit and going real slow or real fast. And the beauty of these valves, since the way they're designed, is that you can, even like a smaller 1 pound jar or something like that, boy, I can open that pretty wide open. As it gets close to the top, I just slow down a little bit and shut it off, and it shuts off nice and clean. So experiment with it. You'll learn how it works and get used to it as you go. But that's basically how you use it. And if you're right-handed, have your handle on this side. If you're left-handed, flip it around over here. One thing I would say, this is the one drawback to a valve of this design, is that there's a plunger in here with a spring that moves up and down. So what can happen if you have honey stored in this tank like this with this valve on for a very long time without cleaning it out, that honey may crystallize in there, and that can really gum up your valve here to where you got to take it apart and clean it up and whatnot. So generally speaking, the ideal use of these valves is if you don't have especially if you don't have a heated tank that's keeping your honey liquefied, I would recommend pretty much just putting your honey in for a few days and then draining it out, doing your bottling, and then clean the tank out real good. It's probably not a good idea to leave unheated honey in one of these unheated tanks for a long period of time with this valve on, because there is the potential for it to get plugged up over time as that honey starts to crystallize and gum up inside there. So that's about it. Hope this is helpful. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.